What's good, Josh? Your boy J Swab. I'm the host of J Swab TV. Quick disclaimer, my eyes, they might look a little lower to y'all than they usually do, if you even notice. But I got a good swim today at my apartment complex. Had no goggles on, had to thug it out, so my eyes are still recovering. But long talk aside, because I have to get into this episode. This episode is not only the best episode that The Chi has delivered us this season, but it's the best episode they've given us in a long time. And I tell y'all, I could not wait to talk about this episode as soon as I seen it. And I actually did so on my TikTok. Y'all go follow me over there. Whether it's The Chi, BMF, whatever show I'm watching, I might do an after live show on my TikTok where I just talk about the episode as a whole. So y'all go follow me over there real quick to get that extended content. I mean, the shit is free, so like, why not? Like I said, a lot happened in this episode, so I'm not even gonna give y'all too much long talk in the intro. Just stick with me for the recap of the episode that takes place on the hottest day in the Chi. If you like anything I gotta say at all in this recap, you already know what I gotta do. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things. 1,000+ subscribers by DreamCon 2026 is the goal for this channel. Let's make it happen. We saw this episode with Darnell in his bed with the focus on the fan next to him, and that shit is just not going. Then we hear on the radio that mad people in the Chi have lost their power. Of course, Darnell being one of them, his fan not oscillating. After this, in typical The Chi fashion, we get an idea of how everybody else is enduring the heat in The Chi at this point in time. We got Shot and Trig taking turns throwing their heads in the ice bowl. My son Damien literally cooling in a freezer, placing bets. We gonna talk about that. And as we pan over to Emmett and Keisha, we see they just lost their power as soon as Darnell reach out to Emmett, letting him know that he lost his power. Now while this is happening, we see EJ and I think Ronnie running around the house. EJ big ass as always breaking something. At this point, the boy just sitting down would save them from so many issues, but he is a kid. I can't hate too much. We go over to Tiff after Keisha asks if she lost her power, and we see she's just cooling at Alicia's crib. Her rich ass got generators, so they don't gotta worry about losing power. It look like Tiff is living the sweet life, so I should be happy for the most part. She's pregnant, she's in a heavily guarded space. At the same time, I hate this scene because why didn't you ask for Emmett to bring EJ to this location? Knowing that Keisha and Emmett don't have power right now. Like, if you just wanted to get rid of your child, just say that. Maybe in that moment, she just chose to act like EJ didn't exist like Emmett does with his other 7 kids. I don't know, that shit was just weird to me, but not as weird as Alicia telling Tiff to not get wet over Nuck. Now, in the previously on section of the episode, we see that Alicia overheard Tiff and Keisha's conversation from the last episode. It just felt real convenient to just throw her in there. I don't even remember her being there when they first had the conversation in the last episode. It's interesting for a lot of reasons because now she can actually talk to Tiff about this. Because obviously before this, she had no idea that Tiff thought that Nuck was feeling her. After trying to sun Tiff, she makes herself look even dumber. Talk about some, you can't have relations with him because he might have been the one responsible for taking out Rob. But wait, I thought Zay was the one that took out Rob. I thought you said Nuck told you that Zay took out Rob. Yeah, well, he could have just been saying anything. She really thought she cooked with that logic, y'all. You understand that you saying this doesn't make you look any better in this situation, right? It makes you look like how you did on that episode you took out Zay. Stupid. I'm gonna save all my extra comments on Alicia for another video that I got planned for this week. The only other thing I'll talk about that's Alicia-centric is what she did at the end of this episode and her relationship with Shad by the end of it. It's basically the same, they just not hunching no more. So Shad is still very much employed, y'all, don't trip. He's still the one and only member of the security detail that Alicia got set up. From the information in the episode, we already knew Keisha and Emmett's relationship was gonna get tested in this episode, but it didn't really get tested as much as I thought it would. The heat and the pregnancy that Keisha is experiencing right now just kind of brought out some different emotions from her. Obviously, that's warranted. And also taking care of EJ and Ronnie, who are growing up and making dumb decisions. EJ, after breaking the vase earlier on in the episode, ends up getting in a whole fight. And Ronnie gets this bad cut, this terrible part in his head. But other than that, they kind of good for the most part. Like, they go back home, their power comes back, and they get all snuggled up and they Gucci. I will say, though, I do feel like their relationship is going to continue to get tested throughout the season. I think that needs to happen. Because obviously, we're building towards a Keisha and Emmett marriage by the end of this season. I want it to be a marriage that lasts, not like so many we've seen in this Chi prior to it. When that could take place in this episode. For as much as I don't mess with Emmett, I do think that Keisha and him are great together. For their sake, I am hoping for the best. I do want to focus on Emmett, Darnell, and Damien's interactions this episode, though. Because unfortunately, being a bozo is just something that both of these boys got from their father. See, earlier on in this episode, Darnell breaks the news to Emmett that Damien has a gambling addiction. He's gone to rehab for it. It's really serious. And he wants Emmett to watch out for his brother and make sure that he doesn't relapse. So Emmett hears all this information from his father. He's providing some suggestions on what he can do for Damien while he's at the workplace. Sure that bro's not gambling, getting caught up in bad things. So with all this added investment that Emmett is putting into this situation, what do you think is the likely response he gives when Damien asks if he could hold 3 G's? No, not $10. No, not $25. Not even a bill. This man asked him for 3 racks off the rip. And the worst part about all this is that he does his books, so he knows he has the money. So of course Emmett gave him the money because, I mean, what can you say? Yeah, he knows he has the bread. Brother, I don't care if this man knows you have the money. You do not have to give it to him. That's your bread. If he robs you, fire him. Now, I'm pretty sure Emmett gave him this money in order to pay off this debt that he owed. It's supposed to be a one-time payment, and he wouldn't have to hear nothing about it after the fact. But obviously, he takes the money, he throws it into a spades tournament, try to double his winnings to pay off his debt, and also still have some money left over to probably gamble again. But this shit instantly backfires, and it's crazy it backfired because they were up. Him and his partner done won a game. They was about to come out with some great bread. But one of the dudes said something Damien didn't like. He called him a nerd, and he challenged him to a double or nothing. So you know Damien had to accept. Now, I don't play spades, so I don't really know the rules like that. But I feel like if your partner is saying he does not want the smoke in a double or nothing game, he or she should have a right to get what they earned in the match previous and swap out for somebody else who want to go outside. I don't know. Why should I have to lose my money because somebody want to be a dickhead and take it the extra mile? So yeah, obviously Damien loses the bread. Shocker. Now I'm just curious to see how serious Darnell and Emmett is going to take in next episode when they realize this man is constantly losing his bread in this gambling shit. Because his partner is definitely going to have a complaint that he will make to somebody in the shop. Shit, if anything, now Damien owes him. Now, before we get to the craziest shit in this episode, I gotta talk about Darnell, Trig, and Shad. They chilling on the block. They going over their old head story. I really be forgetting how close in age Trig, Shad, and Darnell are. It was crazy seeing them chill on the block like that. You already know Shad's going through his shit with Alicia. Darnell thanking God that Jada took him off the market, and Trig talking about if he was in Shad's shoes, was able to sleep in the same crib as Tiff, he wouldn't mind waking up to her every day. So they continuously got to re-emphasize the fact that Darnell is no longer a hoe, and Trig is messing with Tiff right now. We see later on this episode that they link up to eat some White Castle, I think, before Trig talks to her about what happened during him and Shad's shroom trip, how he was approached by his other self and died trying to fight him. Basically admits to Tiff that he feels like he needs to eliminate his old self in order to move on with his new life. He doesn't know how he'll fare eliminating his old self and how he'll move into this new Trig. That's when Tiff calls him a great man, and any great man who's ever heard that they're a great man immediately get weak in their knees. They ready to risk it all. Trig was just about to do that, but the show said, not yet. We ain't go rushing to this one like Dom and Jamal. Which, speaking of Dom and Jamal, I was scared we wasn't going to see them in this episode, but we definitely do see them in this episode. And Dom sends Jamal out on the block to make some deliveries for Smokey. We see he's making some, others he's kind of just giving the food out for free. Made me raise my eyebrow. I'm like, bro, you hoeing Smokies like that? Them niggas gave you a job and they did not have to. That shit is kind of crazy. You just giving some free food out. We also see him serving as a pillar of his community. Love seeing him loosen the hydrant for the kids so that they can enjoy themselves on this hot ass day in the shop. It's good to see Jamal just be a genuine dude, especially knowing his storyline leading to this point in the series. Before I move on to the craziest things in this episode, I do gotta talk about Detective Toussaint. See the boy that her and her cop friends are looking at in this episode, and they are getting close to figuring out who is involved in all these murders happening in the street. We already know Toussaint is eager to find out where Reg is located right now. He pulls up on Trig trying to get some information out of him, shows him the picture of Reg and Drake robbing the ATM, so you know Trig pissed. But he plays it cool, talking about some, I don't even know who they are, they wearing masks. We get some real concrete information, hit me then and only then. You see that cool persona dissipate as he gets over to Jake's crib, and man, what was going on at Jake's crib? We go talk about it. First, I gotta mention that Detective Toussaint did go to talk to Bakari in this episode. We see in this scene, she's doing whatever it takes to get this man Reg off of the street. Telling Bakari his DNA was recovered at the scene where Rob's body was found, which would naturally lead her to believe that he knows who did it. She's not going to ask questions. She already believes that Reg was the one responsible. And Bakari's go feed into that because she already threatened to talk to Lene, and he for damn sure don't want her looking into Nuck. That's how he gets bread. Now, we don't see the end to his conversation with Detective Toussaint, but we do see him talk to Alicia later on in the episode, basically leading her on to the fact that Reg was responsible for Rob's death, but she once again is not asking no questions. But like I said, we're gonna get to that in another video. At least it took the heat off of Nuck, right? What's the worst that could happen now that Alicia believes that Reg was the one that took out Rob? I know I didn't have many complaints when Reg first came back to the series. After the events of this episode, boot him out of here ASAP. Because why is he messing with girls that Jake is talking to in his face at his crib? This man Reg encouraged Jake to invite this girl he'd been talking to over to the crib. Talk about he'll give him some space 1 minute. Then the next he's talking about order some food. Why are you worried about what we about to eat? You're giving us space, remember? But we knew he wasn't giving him space. That man immediately moved in on Jake's girl and had him watching from across the room. Oh, nah. And then proceeded to F his girl in Jake's crib, possibly on his bed. Jake and Reg is about to fight because Jake is not going for that until Trig pulls up, warns Reg that the detectives are looking for him, and Jake decides he's moving back in with Trig. You have the apartment, Reg, shit not the same with you in it. I found it crazy Reg go talk about oh, well, what about what mom said in the last episode? We're supposed to stay together as a family. Nigga, I know you not talking about some family after what you did in this episode. That scene after this with Trig and Jake, where Trig basically explains to Jake why Reg is like this. Mentions he was always the smallest kid on the block, so he adopted a bully mentality, and the shit just stuck. Jake says that he hopes that one day they could just be a family again, and I don't know if it's gonna get to that point. With all the mistakes Reg is making, only the plot can save bro from an eventual arrest. I did not talk about the pastors in this episode, but just know that facade that they got going on with their mega church is going to fade real soon. But I can't end this episode out talking about Jamal's shooting. Jamal's about to call it a day, but he got one more package to deliver to Reg of all people, who Alicia's watching out for outside of his apartment after Bakari provided her with an address where he lives. In typical Alicia fashion, at the side of Reg, or who she thought was Reg, ends up shooting everybody but who she needed to shoot. Shorty is trash. Prayers up for Jamal.